Arthur Schopenhauer, the philosopher of suffering. Life is often described as a cycle of seeking happiness, as if joy were the natural destination of existence. But Arthur Schopenhauer offered a radically different view. He did not decorate life with comforting illusions. He spoke with a cold clarity. Perhaps the world was never designed for our happiness in the first place. This was not pessimism for its own sake, but an attempt to describe existence honestly. Between the suffering that nature imposes on us, illness, aging, death, disaster, and the suffering we humans inflict on one another, Schopenhauer saw life as a field where pain is not the exception, but the rule. And yet in this severe vision, there is a strange kind of wisdom. This is Schopenhauer's philosophy. The world is will, and will hurts. Schopenhauer believed that beneath the world, we see lies something deeper. A blind, relentless force he called the will. The will is not rational, not moral, not personal. It simply strives to live, to persist, to desire. It animates everything from flowing rivers to human longing. And because it never rests, we never rest. We want, we chase, we obtain, and immediately we want again. This endless cycle of desire is the source of suffering. Happiness in this view is not a stable state, only a temporary absence of pain. Life swings like a pendulum between pain and boredom. We are pushed forward not by reason, but by this blind inner drive we cannot control. We are, in his words, puppets of the will. Even when we know our desires deceive us, we still pursue them, because will is stronger than thought. Schopenhauer compared it to a mole digging blindly through the earth. It sees little yet keeps tunneling, because that is its nature. So are we. Why happiness fails? If the world is driven by blind will, then seeking happiness is like swimming upstream. Schopenhauer noted that when we look at the faces of the elderly, we rarely see triumph, but the quiet disappointment of those who realize that life did not deliver the joy they imagined. The tragedy is not personal failure, it's structural. We were simply asking the world for something it cannot give. Even intense joy, he said, contains the seed of sorrow. To feel anything in excess means eventually feeling its opposite in excess. To crave happiness passionately is to invite the shadow of deep sadness. Thus, joy is fragile, temporary, and unstable. Pain is constant. So what should we aim for if not happiness? The reduction of suffering, a different goal. For Schopenhauer, the wiser goal is not to maximize pleasure, but to minimize pain. We cannot escape suffering completely, but we can lessen its grip. How? He offers two possible paths. First path, aesthetic contemplation, art, music, philosophy. For Schopenhauer, art does not make us happy. It does something better. It lifts us out of the prison of the will. When we lose ourselves in music or painting, we step briefly outside desire. The restless will pauses. We are freed, not permanently, but beautifully. In this suspended moment, we no longer chase anything. We simply behold. Schopenhauer believed this aesthetic experience is the closest we come to true peace. It does not erase suffering, but makes it lighter, more distant, almost dreamlike. Music. Among the arts, he placed music highest because music does not imitate the world. It speaks the same language as the will itself. Music is the will made audible, and for a moment, in hearing it, we understand ourselves. Second path, the heroic life. The second path is far more radical, to deny the will altogether. This means letting go of desire, ambition, attachment, possessions, even companionship, a life of discipline, simplicity, detachment, a life resembling the Buddhist monk. Schopenhauer was deeply inspired by Buddhism, especially the idea that life is illusion and desire is the source of suffering. To live heroically, one withdraws from society and refuses to play the will's game. Few can do this. Schopenhauer knew that, but he believed it is the only path to true liberation. The inner tension. Why we can't let go. If will brings suffering, why not simply reject it? Because will is not a choice. It is a force printed into us like a biological code. Every instinct, hunger, love, sexuality, ambition, is the will speaking. We chase relationships even though they end in pain. We pursue desires even though they betray us. We cling to life even when it hurts. The will does not ask permission, it acts. Even suicide, he said, does not truly negate the will, because the will to die is yet another expression of will. We are caught in a paradox. The hedgehog dilemma. Human relationships. To Schopenhauer, even human intimacy carries its own brand of suffering. He used a powerful metaphor, the hedgehogs. On a cold night, hedgehogs huddle together for warmth, but as they draw close, their spines wound each other, so they separate to ease the pain. Yet the cold pushes them together again. So they repeat this painful dance, caught between solitude and hurt. So are we. To love others is to risk being wounded. To avoid others is to freeze. We move back and forth, never settling. Schopenhauer believed that affection often breeds possession and selfishness. Too much closeness leads to dependence and thus pain. In relationships, there is no perfect distance, only compromise. Is he too dark? Many call Schopenhauer a pessimist, but perhaps he is only a realist who refuses to look away. If the world is full of suffering, then noticing the suffering is not pessimism. It is honesty. He does not demand we despair, only that we stop lying to ourselves. If evil exists everywhere, then optimism without evidence is just another illusion. Schopenhauer chooses truth over comfort, and yet, he never says give up. He does not suggest that life has no value. Instead, he tells us to live with eyes open and work to reduce the burden of pain, first in ourselves, then in others. If happiness is rare, then compassion becomes sacred. What can we take from him? Most of us cannot abandon the world and become monks. Schopenhauer knew this. Yet we can still live wisely. We can pursue art, we can think deeply, we can be compassionate, we can simplify desire, we can suffer consciously. Suffering may be inevitable, but blindness is optional. And in the quiet that follows honesty, there may appear a strange kind of peace. Schopenhauer looked at life without illusion. He saw the world as a place of constant striving, endless longing, and guaranteed pain. And yet, in this bleak landscape, he found the possibility of clarity, beauty, and compassion. We may never fully escape the will that drives us, but we can soften its bite through art, reflection, and the gentle understanding that every living being is suffering too. Maybe this is Schopenhauer's true gift. Not that he taught us how to be happy, but that he taught us how to live with suffering without turning away.